What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and this is a soccer comic rant. I'm coming to you from my hotel room in Austin. I'm here doing the mothership this weekend, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that disgusting performance from Man United versus Brentford, probably the worst performance of a football team that I love that I've ever seen in my entire life. Thank God there were the games of Liverpool versus Brighton and Arsenal versus City to cleanse the palate of the last game that I watched yesterday. Those games were like Pepto Bismol to to help my upset stomach from watching United's performance. So, you know, we'll talk about those games. We'll talk about Chelsea versus Burnley. So that I don't know how they're gonna do the highlights of that game. They just have to show that entire game because the entire game was highlights. The goalkeeper for Burnley, Muric, just man of three matches in one match, just was diving his ass off. And we're gonna talk Newcastle, West Ham, and whatever else happened in the table. Tottenham got fucking lucky and won, and we'll discuss my disgust for Man United. And we have, you know, my usual co-host, Lee Hudson, stand-up comic from England, Southampton fans. So we're gonna get a little rundown about what that championship do, what that Southampton do down there in the championship. And we got Alex Avila. He thought he's going to stroll into the podcast. He's another comic, but he's a Man City fan, and thought he's going to stroll on the podcast triumphantly. He thought he's going to get that old at Arsenal, but he got that new Arsenal. You know what I'm saying? And they got stumped at home. So we're going to talk about his feelings on like the draw today versus Arsenal, and does he really believe like is City, can they do it? Like we'll see. We'll see. Like I know who's gonna win the the title, but I won't tell you until the final day of the season. So let's get into it. Like the biggest game of the weekend was obviously Arsenal versus Man City. So Alex, what up? How you feel about your one measly point out of six in two
What's
matches
going
versus
on?
Arsenal all season?
What's up, Ian? What up, Lee? Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I thought I was gonna come in like with like a smiling and being like, "Hey, man, we got it. We're there." But all right. I want you to clip this here and clip this, okay? But I'm like still gonna say it all the time. Over the 5 years, City at its best, they can beat any team in the world. City at its best, like at their best. But unfortunately, against Liverpool and against Arsenal, they were not at its best. And
And
now we're
Chelsea.
basically and Chelsea. But like we're going in the title races against Liverpool and Arsenal, and we dropped 4 points. Where City could have been like, yeah, we dropped 4 points against Liverpool. That was a bad performance from City. And today, I don't know how much of a bad performance was, but City wasn't at his best. It was just like we were not, and that you can tell we were not because I think like when you're having 70 something per possession and you're not creating chances, you're like, how are you not creating chances? We have some of the best players when it comes to like creating chances, and we're not doing it. And honestly, for a moment, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but like basically people were commenting like this was a boring game. That was trending on Twitter, like that boring game, just
The
because.
first half was definitely kind of slow. Like I was kind of on my phone, like to anticipate to see a game all week and to be like drifting off to my phone. But the second half for sure picked up. But the first half, yeah, it was, it was borderline boring, but still, you see that red and that blue out there, it still kind of got my interest. But go ahead.
And I think, like, for Arsenal's perspective, I'm not sure how they feel because obviously, like, a lot. I feel like some fans can be like, you know what, this was the right thing. Come to City and basically play behind the lines, 11 pack the balls, because last year City scored 5 on them at City and 3 at Arsenal, so maybe they were like, you know what, let's do it. Let's do it that way. If they win the league, or Arteta's probably gonna receive like a bunch of credit for doing that. If they're like 2 points behind or something like that happens, they'll be like, wow, this could have been the game because City they were not at its strongest. Arsenal basically came in full squad. They fake injuries. Like all of a sudden, Gabriel was injured, Saka was injured, everybody was injured. Today they all play. I was like,
hold on a second. Hold on a second. Like you're a bit salty. You're a bit salty because when you're like like picking at things like that didn't even happen in the game. You're talking about like the players from Arsenal that pulled out of international week that were available miraculously for Arsenal in this match against you.
no, I think that
You're
they're right, the
salty,
right
but
thing. That was
but
that was
they
the
belong, but they are members of Arsenal, so you still got to play them. It doesn't matter how they got there.
Yeah, I guess yes, I might be a little salty just because like I was like, Stones, why are you playing within you senior last week and you're playing with England? Now we lost Stones. Now we're
Yeah,
Walker.
why didn't you pull out like Saka Stones? Why'd you let
Exactly.
Saka pull out and you stayed?
Or the same with Kyle Walker. Like Walker has been like kind of like not, but he's like, oh, I'll go play. He gets injured. It's just
You know why he
okay.
played? You know why Kyle Walker played for England this week? Because Pep called Southgate and say, no, Arteta called Southgate and was like, hey, give Kyle Walker
Give me a
the
solid.
captain band so that he won't pull out and play.
Correct.
And that's why Kyle Walker showed up.
Yeah, so again, I think like this, you could summarize it. I think like Arsenal might have done like the right, like what they needed to do because they're ahead, and when it comes to goal difference, their goal difference. If you see Liverpool and City, I think like Arsenal is like plus 48 or something, and City's like we're basically 13 goals behind Arsenal goal difference. So that's another like probably
That's
another
a point.
point. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a point. So
So
I
you
think like
guys had to win this.
yeah, pretty smart for them. Giving props. If we face him on the Champions League somehow, we cross pathways. I like to see them basically if they're gonna basically be playing like that for 180 minutes. So that'd be interesting.
I like this from Arteta. You know, like it wasn't the game. Arteta ain't playing this game for me. Like it was like normally, I feel like they could have won or got the same results if they played like how they normally play. But I do like the fact that Arteta like went Mourinho on you guys and was like, we're gonna make sure that we leave here with something, the way Mourinho would do. And that's why you should be worried if you have to face them, in the Champions League, because this could ruin a good season for you. But and it's a sign of maturity. Like Arsenal has suffered 2 seasons before this trying to play the ball out the back just so that they could learn how to do it in a game like this today when they were title challengers. And they just blasted the ball up. Like the
Exactly.
reason
Like
why
they still
Ramsdale,
didn't learn, but now they're learning like let's kick the ball away instead of
yeah,
trying to have the goalie making a mistake or
but
something.
but but they pissed you off just like they
Oh
probably pissed
yes,
off your players, and it only plays into Arsenal hands. Like Arteta ain't there to play the type of football that you practice to play against him. He's there to get some points, and to last season get no points in 2 matches versus City, and to the next season get 4 and you get 1. That's an achievement. Let me hear what Lee has to say about like uh, City crumbling under the pressure of a fifth title, or is it your
I wouldn't
fourth?
go,
No, I'm just talking shit. This
I
will
wouldn't
be
go as
4 in a
far
row.
as
All right.
yeah, I wouldn't go as far as saying they crumbled. But yeah, it was an interesting game to watch because it was one of those typical big games where it felt a little bit cagey, almost a bit like a chess game. Like Arsenal were happy for City to have the ball, but then City didn't really have sort of enough about them on the day to really create many good chances. Like there was the Ake header, Kovacic like tried one distance, and yeah, it sort of showed the limitations of City when a team sort of effectively shut Haaland out and shut the supply down to him, because he was anonymous for a lot of the game. Really, like, he was just a peripheral figure for them, and credit to Arsenal for doing that really well. And their game plan almost worked. They sprung a couple of breaks and had a couple of chances, and if they'd taken one, then it's a tactical master class from Arteta. But I still think, yeah, the draw is a better result for Arsenal than it is for City, for sure, because it keeps Arsenal above them. And it was a case of, if we're not going to win it, don't lose it for Arsenal. I still think the 3 points would be more useful, obviously, because Liverpool now it's put it in their hands. None of these teams play each other again, I don't think. So it's or certainly City don't play either of them again. I know that much.
I don't think they played for the.
Yeah, they don't play each other anymore.
Yeah.
And it's what, nine games left now?
Nah, I think it's 8 because it's like week 30. Let me
No,
check.
it's week 29th. There's still like they still have 9 games each.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
this was the first time in like 58 games that City hadn't scored at home.
Yeah, it's like 2 years of them not scoring at home.
Yeah, which is absolutely nuts, and that just shows you what what an achievement it was for Arsenal to come and play the way they did and keep a clean sheet, because Arsenal basically did everything that they've been accused of not being over the last few years. They were solid, they were organized, they showed some real balls in terms of making sure they had enough bodies around and doing the defensive work. So yeah, credit to them for that. And I think it's such a hard game plan to pull off away to Man City to shut them out at one end and score the other end. So they did half of that job really well, and then they couldn't do the other part of the job. But I don't think they should be ashamed of that, because, like I say, if you're going to keep a clean sheet and score against them, I mean, we've just heard from that stat that keeping a clean sheet at the Etihad is near on impossible. So to do that and then score up the other end would have been a dream day for Arsenal. But I still think, yeah, the point's a good result for them. But they're all relying on Liverpool dropping something now and then seeing who can punish them for it.
Yeah, they definitely played the long game. And, like you said, they showed other facets, Arsenal, of their game. Like, they were so physical today. Like, they must have had Troy Deeney at their practice all week yelling, "You're soft. You can't," and just like making them tougher. Remember when I said you were soft and you're not afraid of the physical game? Prove it to me. Prove to me that you ain't soft. It was mano and mano. Like, people say Saka didn't have a good day, not offensively, but that motherfucker went right back to, he played right back, and he started for Arsenal as a left back, but he was a forward. You know how they have overlapping wing backs? What is the reverse of a winger that goes backwards? Like, what's the term for that? Because that's the position he was playing. Like there was so many like battles between him and Kevin De Bruyne, you couldn't even pin down what position he was playing. Kevin De Bruyne, he was all over the pitch. But like they're in the box, out the box, like having these tackle battles, these intense tackle battles, trying not to foul each other, especially Arsenal on defense, and then just getting in the way of all the blocking the passing lanes, and then winning and losing the ball, winning and losing the ball. There was a lot of that, man.
Yeah, I think you're 100% correct, because people were saying like Saka, like and even Jesus didn't do much, but I was like, they did what they were supposed to do. I think like Jesus was all over Bernardo. Like Bernardo is easy for Bernardo to get frustrated. You start basically being super close to Bernardo, he starts getting pushy, he starts basically like getting like antsy. And in the other side, Saka basically was running non-stop with Guardiola. Like Guardiola, he was making runs. And Guardiola's like a big boy for like a left back. He's like a big. He's not a left back, but he's playing left back for City. And Saka was like going in all those balls and trying to win them in the air. So they did what they were basically like. It annoyed me because I was like, I don't think I ever seen Jesus defend so much. At City, he did not defend like that. But today he was trying to prove that that we like trying to prove that basically he's the guy.
Yeah, I feel it's pretty impressive. I didn't know that stat until Lee said it. Like, City had scored in 58 straight games at home, and to stop that, that's 3 points.
Mm.
Like, just morale wise by itself, to really do that. Like, yeah, man, their defense was thick today. Everybody was like defending. Like, I should have known something was up when they didn't start Martinelli and they put Gabriel Jesus in his place, because like Gabriel Jesus just throws off what Arsenal has been doing since he got injured. Like, with Martinelli in there, Saka, and then Hobbits, they go for it. So I should have known something was up. I also think Hobbits didn't really help them much. Like, he's pretty tentative, and you know, normally he's better when they go for it. But again, they weren't really trying to give up anything today. They was like, not today. This ain't last season. We ain't that team that capitulated, and we're not gonna like press you guys and then leave like Haaland with just one or two of our defenders like last season. And then remember Haaland just crushed them at the Etihad last season. He just like De Bruyne just would find them, and then there'd be this distance between Haaland and to get a straight run at the goal with a defender on him. And there's like, now we all defending for him. Dribble through all of us. Good luck.
I think Arteta makes sure like the midfield they were not gonna go balls through the midfield. They're like, okay, if you're trying, go to the sides, and that's where he had Saka and Jesus kind of like helping a lot, because through the middle, last game against Arsenal, Rodri and De Bruyne were just going through the center, just putting balls and kind of just feeding people. Today they were just like, if you're gonna like try to do something, go to the sides, and that's where you saw Akanji, Guardiola, trying to do crosses to the box. Just like let's see what happens. And it's hard for Holland to compete against a center back. There's two center backs who are just as big as him. So, I mean, Arsenal did what they needed to do. I would have loved to basically going all at it, basically them go all at it. But yeah, I mean, City today they lost 2 points against Arsenal.
And then last season, Arsenal claimed their season fell apart, and they succumbed to the pressure, like when Saliba got injured, and they kept him injured for the part of the season that he missed last year, so that he could help them versus like Haaland. And it really was a difference today. Plus, the team's like a year mature; they know what it is more, and they just really, they dealt with y'all today. It was ugly. They weren't trying to really like give neutrals like a show. And it's like, fuck your show. It's about business. And like we don't care if you turn this off. We're leaving here with something.
Hey, after an international week, I will gladly watch a game like this. Even this is better than watching games that mean nothing for England.
Very true.
I mean, United played like the points against Brentford meant nothing. So yeah, this is definitely better than watching United play either or. Hats off to both teams. But is that a City training shirt that you got on?
No, they had actually a friend gave it to me, but it's hard to tell. But this is like a dragon going through this like a dragon right here. So they did like a celebration of the Chinese something dragon year, or I don't really know.
Chinese New Year.
Yeah. So my friend bought it for me, and well, he lost a bet. Like I lost a bet. We had a bet. I think it was City against Chelsea last season, and he bought it for me. I was like, there you go.
Oh, that's a dope shirt. That's the best City shirt I've ever seen in my life. Like
because
City
it's not
shirts.
blue, because you don't like seeing the City blue.
I mean, I don't mind it, but come on, your shirts are ugly, bro. Like, you have to be like, if you're a City fan, like, I put this on just so people know I root for City, but we need to do better.
No, I think yes, you're right. City has some ugly shirts that I don't even buy myself. But I think last year I really liked from last year, like the blue with like some red on the shirt and the color. It's
that was the closest. That was the closest to like a decent shirt. And that's the thing. Like, if you made better shirts, you'd sell more, and it would cut off at least 15 of those 115 charges because you'd have the money to back up what you say the club made. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
you make ugly shirts, nobody wants to buy them.
I think like among City fans, we know that basically like normally like our away shirts or the third kit is better than the because I'm not a huge fan of Puma. Like I just feel like the shirts are like super small and don't really like the style.
I'm a Puma fan, but City shirts is the ugliest thing they've made in the history of Puma. Yeah, they got to do better. It's like sabotage over there. I don't know who's making them. Lee, you got any thoughts on like or words of like before? Yeah, give me your last thoughts, and I gotta just ask. I'll ask Alex something after.
My thoughts on the game or on Puma shirts?
either or.
Well, yeah, I mean, City definitely dropped the ball by going from Nike to Puma. Like even I'd like it even if City went back. I'd like it actually if either of the Manchester teams went back to Umbro, because Umbro they make cool kits and they're Manchester based. They were founded in Manchester, and like they used to make both the City and United shirts. They used to make the England shirts, and I miss that because they're a real cool brand. Yeah, it'd be nice to see one of them at least go back to that. But definitely United's Adidas kits are better than the Nike, better than the Puma stuff that City are rocking for sure. But yeah, I mean, final thing of the game, I'm just really excited to see how this title race ends now because we've got, I think, what is it? Are Arsenal 2 points behind, City 3 points behind?
It's City's behind 3 points behind Liverpool, 1 point behind Arsenal.
Yeah, and Arsenal two behind.
I think like it's 67, 65, 64.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I want this to go as deep as possible into the season. I would love it if there's some, if all three teams still have a possibility on the final day, because I love those final days as a neutral where I'm not involved. These final days when there's just drama and it makes the whole thing better rather than if a team wins it with 3 or 4 or even 5 games left and it's just like, okay. Because there's always something going on, like there's always a relegation battle or something, or the battle for Europa League spots or the Champions League spot or something. But the big title race is the one that really gets everyone going. So yeah, I hope all 3 teams are in it as late as possible so we can get some drama.
You know what the saddest thing is? I'm a United fan and I'm a neutral when it comes to talk about like you're not you're in the championship and you're saying you're a neutral, and I'm in the Premier League and I'm a neutral. That's how bad we're doing. So, Jesus Christ. So, Alex, do you really think y'all still got a chance to win the title? Be honest.
Yes, I'm being honest. Again, I'm gonna kind of repeat what I said. City at his best will win every single game. So, at this moment? Is City at their best? They're not. And I think like we play Aston Villa this week. I think on Wednesday.
Who throttled you at?
Correct. So I can totally see us having like a rough game, and you basically like maybe like this week. To answer your question, yes, I'm still super confident of City winning. Not super confident, but I can see City winning it. But I can see them not doing it because they drop points against like a team that like is inferior.
Do you think what's more important to you, the league or Champions League?
Personally, the league, just because I feel like a 4-peat is like it will kind of like represent the supremacy the City has over the past 6 years, or past 7 years, just winning. I mean, Guardiola has won 5 leagues in 7 years, I think. Winning one more, I think like he probably just call it quits after that. I feel like winning 4 leagues, he might just be like, you know what, City, thank you so much. I'm gonna take a break.
In that case, you should be rooting for the Champions League or neither. You should want him to stay. You shouldn't want him to
I do
win
want to stay,
like,
but I think like a 4-peat is something that it might. I don't know if it'll be done again. With like Premier League is so competitive that winning 4, it's it's like a pretty crazy. I mean, United at its best, they were not able to win 4, and United basically like they had a crazy run, so basically titles and stuff.
I know you don't have to mention that. I get it.
But I mean, back to
But
back Champions League is so rare as well, though.
yeah, yeah. I, I I wouldn't want the league is not worth losing Pep. So I'd be like, fuck that, let him lose. Because if he lose, he's such a winner, he'll stay. And this was still a great season. But so you'd rather the league than the Champions League. Yeah, I'd rather the back-to-back Champions League, to be honest. Like, yeah. And since
I feel like most City fans, I don't know what it is about us, but we might be crazy, but I think like the Champions League, just because we had such a bad experience with the Champions League, so much frustration, that I think like at the end of the day, somewhat comes like if you get a good draw, if you get basically somewhat lucky or something, you might be able to win. Like I've seen Chelsea win the Champions League twice when they were like far inferior than most teams. So I think like the Premier League, like the league shows that you were the best team through the whole year, you know?
yeah. What do you think your chances against Villa? This and it's at the Etihad, right? You think
Yeah,
you're gonna
no,
go 2 games in a row without scoring at home?
no way. I think like we'll score, but our defense is so shaky. Like that's the problem when you see like the goal difference. They're like, how is City not scoring goals? Like we're scoring goals. We're just conceding so many goals. Like that's the problem. It's just every game like we can be winning comfortably. We're giving stupid goals away.
And why is that? Just because of injuries to your defense all season? Like, why
I
y'all
think
letting
like
them go?
it's like minor like errors from players. Like there's sometimes players are they're not tracking their player. Like we're not. I saw Walker twice basically like giving like stupid goals away again. I think it was against Newcastle. The Walker did 2 mistakes. We get scored 2 goals. I feel like it's just concentration errors. I think like we're not fully playing 90 minutes of concentration. Like it's just little things like that.
I mean, unless I'm looking at the wrong thing, you've only given up 28 goals. Arsenal has given up 24. Liverpool has given up 27. A lot of Liverpool's wins, Liverpool look like Liverpool has been coming from behind in most of their games this season. They act like Ali is coaching them. You know what I mean? The way they play, they go down a goal first. Like even today, which we'll get into
I
that game.
Liverpool's on track to be like the most average team on the Premier League history of points behind. They have recovered 26 points.
Mhm.
That's almost 10 games, and I think I can totally see them that happening through the season. Just because they're like offensively, Liverpool is so good creating chances. You know and I think mentally they know like if they go behind, they'll probably come back, and they know it. You know, it's just they probably enjoy that kind of like club loves drama. You know, they
Mhm.
thrive on that.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, City has a habit of not being going a goal down, but being behind before they win the league. Eventually, go ahead. So they have their own version. This is why this is their time of the year. Uh, I checked out the Liverpool Brighton Hove game. So did you watch that one before just to see if Liverpool would win and get themselves further ahead of you, or
I
did
don't
you?
do that. I don't do that anymore because again, I just know Liverpool is gonna win it. I used to, and I seen like I remember one time against Everton. I think like it was like the craziest goal ever. Like I think like Origi, like the ball
Oh
bounced
yeah,
above the
yeah.
post, and I was ready. I was like basically, I was like, wait, what just happened? Like what is that? I was like, and I stopped watching Liverpool. Like if they're losing, I'm like they're gonna come back. I just know they're gonna come back. And so far, every season, every game this season they have come back mostly. So yeah, I don't, I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, so this morning I woke up half an hour before the game. So I need to get Starbucks, because I'm in a hotel. So Starbucks ain't far. So I walked to get the Starbucks. You get up, brush your teeth, change clothes, just to go like a block and a half away. So, but I have the YouTube TV app. And so the phone is in my pocket and I can listen to the build up. And then as soon as I walked through kickoff was started in the hallway for me. And as soon as I walked in the hotel room door and closed it and put the tea down, 84 seconds in, Brighton Hove scored. And just like you, I was like, they're gonna get this back. They're gonna get this back. And the team does not panic, man. They just do what they do. Deserving teams are difficult to play through. And I heard him in the press conference saying he didn't go man for man because of the skill of the Liverpool players. So he arranged something a little different for them. And it worked up to a certain point, but McAllister is just there's the thing about McAllister, he's a good player, but his desire levels is next level. You could just see it. It's not like on the level of like Steven Gerrard. I don't want to like. You could see it's tangible. You could be like, this guy wants to win. He's gonna do shit to win. And then he used to be the 6, but now Endo, who had a shaky Liverpool start, who is supposed to be the 6, has got the feel for the team, doesn't give up the ball anymore, but keeps winning it. So now he's winning the ball and keeping it. So now McAllister can go be 8, and do some 10 shit and like create, score some goals. He had a beautiful assist to Salah. And then Salah's just, he's just gonna do what he does. He's gonna affect games. And Luis Diaz is just relentless. He reminds me of the first Terminator when Arnold Schwarzenegger lost like the human suit that was over the skeleton, and it was just the skeleton chasing John Connor's mom. Like he reminds me of the skeleton that was chasing John Connor's mom, just relentless. Like you have to like boil this dude in an industrial fire. He will not stop. Like that goal that he scored is like nobody's gonna be like, let me see if this ball will fall here, and then still be calm enough to put it. He has the speed of an erratic player, but the calm of like a finesse player, So yeah, man, it's a tough. And then if any of them guys get tired, they got another set just to bring on the pitch. They bring on Elliott. They can bring on a Gakpo. They got that young kid Bradley filling in for Alexander Arnold, and he's like playing on the level. And yeah, man, the only thing I doubt about Liverpool is like their lack of experience. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, do they have enough experience with these team of players to win this? Because like Lee, who does Liverpool have from the last time they won the league or from the Champions League?
I think they got quite a few. Like obviously Salah, Van Dijk, Alexander Arnold, Alisson, Robertson.
Who didn't play today, right?
Yeah, from today, like they only had Van Dijk and Salah from that roster. Like everyone else, like they haven't. But
they got a few injured.
Yeah, they got injuries. This is how good they are. They have injuries, but it still feels like the way Klopp has these new dudes playing, it feels like there hasn't been that much turnover because the results are the same results as when he had that first cycle. But that's how good, like today, the starters, like Van Dijk, he had Gomez, but Gomez wasn't a starter. Yo, he only got 3 players on the pitch today that won the league. Like everybody's new. Like he got them in there seamlessly. Like not even the keeper, yo. It's pretty crazy, but but I guess they went through their growing pains like last season for all these guys. So that's why I say, and Arsenal went through that growing pain too. And that's why Chelsea's going through it now, and the fans are upset. But just let them settle in, let them settle in,
I think if I was a neutral, I'm not a neutral. I think I'm favored City to win the league. But if I was a neutral, I think I would see Liverpool. I would think Liverpool have better chances than Arsenal win the league, just because they're gonna start
Yeah,
getting right now. Like the team is like, I mean, first of all, they got 3 points ahead. They don't have to worry about Champions League games. Like they can rotate players in the Euro. If club just wants to win the league, they can probably comfortably. I think they play Atalanta this week, or I don't know who they're playing, but they're like it's easier to basically manage like Europa League and Champions League. And once they get Trent back, Robertson back, and with the players like the way they're playing, I can see basically like Liverpool somewhat and like we mentioned, right? They have the confidence on coming back from results. Arsenal this season, I think like I heard like during 2024, they have not been behind. Every Premier League they have been either winning or they have not. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when Arsenal gets scored on the 60th minute or 7th minute, and they have not done this through this year, at least in 2024.
they've had games like that where they've had to come back and they
No,
rescued it.
no, not this year, not since basically January. Like they have always been on top. They have not gone behind.
Oh yeah, but I've seen them being like 0-0 to late and
Yeah,
still score because like 0-0 to like the top three is like you're being a goal down. You play like you're a goal down when the clock is ticking because it might as well be because any points dropped. You know, Lee, what did you think of the Liverpool performance versus Brighton?
I mean, it was a good performance from Liverpool to, show a bit of resilience because Brighton aren't pushovers. We know that. And that Welbeck goal was a stunner as well. Like, it always rocks you if a team that if you're the favourites and the other team score first against you, that always rocks you. But when it's a goal like that as well, it's like, oh shit,
Yeah,
that just happened. And yeah, it wasn't even because Welbeck he like he'll pull one like that out occasionally as well. Like most of his goals are like scrappy, tenacious goals or penalty box goals, and then just occasionally, like once or twice a season, he'll do something crazy like that. Like he's got it in his ability to do it, and yeah, just a great hit. And I even I was chatting to a friend who's a Liverpool fan, and I just went, "You're still going to win this." I was like, "You're still going to win this." It's too like they like the old cliche of they scored too early kind of thing.
Mhm.
And just the way Brighton play is quite open. They don't really score a goal and then try and park the bus. So and also I kind of feel like this
And
game was almost
they're
maybe
they're no Arteta.
yeah. And Arteta hasn't really been like that much. It's something he's
No,
added.
yeah. Today,
And maybe De Zerbi needs to add that as well because I feel like this game was also a bit of an audition for De Zerbi in front of like the Anfield hierarchy because after the announcement this week that Xabi Alonso is going to stay with Leverkusen, it's now bust the whole thing wide open at Liverpool over who's going to be that successor to Klopp. And I think De Zerbi, there's certainly a lot worse choices they could make. There are some reservations over the fact that he's not really managed a club of Liverpool's stature and size before. He's not really managed that much at like the top level in terms of like Champions League and things. So his style of football, though, I think would be interesting to watch with the higher quality of players that Liverpool has and the bigger budget. But sometimes what looks good on paper as a good fit necessarily doesn't always work. And yeah, nothing's a guarantee in football, especially when you're following, a big legacy manager like Klopp. But yeah, he plays an exciting style of football, and I kind of feel like that was him today putting down a marker saying, I'm good enough to take this job. But Liverpool did what they did, and they put the pressure on, and they've just got players who will hurt you. Salah, he was trying and trying and trying, and then eventually it came off for him. Because that's one thing I love about watching him though, is he doesn't stop. Like if he's having a bad game where he's missing chances, he will just keep going until he gets one, and that's what he did. And he was trying to create for other people as well. And Darwin was just being that front three is just a nuisance. as well, with Darwin and Diaz as well.
To say
Like
the least, yeah.
they're not always clinical, but like Diaz is just chaos. Like he's always just pressing and running and looking to run in behind off the ball as well. And just when the ball gets to him, like I don't even know, like the defender doesn't really know what he's going to do. He doesn't know what he's going to do. He's going to do something, but he's just chaos. And Nunes is chaos, and Salah brings a little bit of calm and composure to it, but he doesn't stop either. Like I said, he keeps going. So just for defenders, that must be like you can't against that sort of forward line, you can't switch off at all, and that's what Brighton got caught doing a couple of times
It's
for the goals. Like
it's perpetual motion up there with those three.
Hmm.
I feel like some of the defenders when you go up against like is it Luis Diaz, the Colombian? Like they'll be like, hey man, can we play with a leash? You know what I'm saying? I don't know where he might run into the road and get hit by a car. I don't want to get like in trouble with child protective care because who can control this guy? His energy is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've had it in five-a-side before when I've played with friends or like played with people, and I go to mark someone, and I just say to them quietly, I'm like, "Hey, if you don't run, I don't run. Let's have a nice, calm game here. try and make a deal with them. You could not make that deal with Luis Diaz for sure.
Yeah, he just keeps it moving, and then like I think it's getting like contagious because Darwin Núñez, like he was on the ground today and he took a shot. He fell and he took a shot, and it was like that's another Darwin Núñez. He will shoot from anywhere, even from his ass. And then Salah, he's a professional, accurate pain in the ass. And they got a midfield now, a brand new midfield with backups to like assist them. Shit, man, whoever gets his Liverpool job is lucky.
I like what Lee said about like De Zerbi like trying to audition for the Liverpool job. Because I feel like De Zerbi just been like experimenting the whole season with Brighton. Like people are like, you see Brighton sometimes winning games, sometimes losing 4-0, sometimes getting like but it's enjoyable to see, like basically the way they play. And they have like a nice kind of like I think Brighton plays Arsenal, they play City, they play Man United, they play Newcastle. So I think like if it feels like auditioning for a job, I think like this is the perfect basically. Hey, look at what I did against City. Look at what I did against Arsenal. Look at what I did against United. Right? Perfect timing for him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man. Like, it's just funny the chain reaction of football. Like, Klopp announces he's leaving Liverpool, and then, however many miles away in another country, it affects Leverkusen out of nowhere, who are having a good season because now they have to wonder if their coach, who's winning the league so far, is going to stay because automatically he becomes a candidate. He's just minding his business, trying to organize his Leverkusen business. And then everybody's like, hey, man, you used to play for Liverpool. So then he has to announce. I actually think he took too long to say, I'm not going to leave Leverkusen this season. But I almost feel like he had to say it. He should have said it sooner, but he had to say it, I feel like, to keep his team focused to win this league because you just don't know when Bayern Munich is going to sneak you. So like they want the commitment from the coach that they can commit for the rest of the season to try to take this home, because this is not is Bayern Munich mathematically eliminated from winning the title? Because I feel like Tuchel kind of like waved the white flag and capitulated today.
Yeah, because they lost to Dortmund, he sort of conceded in the press the title, but I don't know if it's actually. I don't think it's mathematically out of the equation. Let me just have a look.
There were 10 points behind yesterday. I think they're probably 13 points now.
13, yeah.
So I don't think automatically, but it's just the league. I think they only play 34 games, right, or 36 games.
They play 34, and they're currently on 27. So they got 7 more to go. So obviously, there's 21 points up for grabs. So it's not mathematically out the equation. But I mean, Leverkusen have been so relentlessly consistent all season. that they're not going to lose all their remaining games. They may not survive the season fully unbeaten. It'd be great if they did, because I think it would be a real, statement from them and Xabi Alonso, because I think just the fact that he's gone into a team that aren't normally winning the title to do that, if he'd have gone to Bayern and done an unbeaten season and won the league, people would be like, okay, well, it's Bayern. And I think the fact that he's done it at Leverkusen is why so many people, it's why Bayern are chasing him. It's why Liverpool were chasing him. It's why, maybe he ends up being the next Real Madrid manager in 2 years, or something, because, he's played for all these clubs as well. So he's got a connection to 3 big clubs.
Yeah.
And, they're all going to have managerial changes.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they might basically be like, hey, but I don't see it. I don't think he'll be a Bayern Munich. I mean, a Bayer Leverkusen until 2026. After the World Cup.
Yeah,
I think he'll get an offer before that.
I think he'll do. I think he'll definitely. Obviously, he said he'll do next season with them. I think that'll be it. So he'll take them into the Champions League and enjoy, the results of the success from this season. But then I think, the money, the ambition, everything will be, because Bayern will probably get back on top in the Bundesliga. It's, their budget is way above what everyone else's is. So it will probably be back to being Bayern, and then he'll be ready for that fresh challenge. But I think it's a good thing for football that he's staying at Leverkusen, and showing a bit of sensibility as well, that he's not just jumping ship after one good season, because he doesn't want to be accused of maybe being a one season wonder, because then if he fails at Liverpool, because it's a hard job following someone like Klopp. So if he failed at Liverpool, then that could be his time at the very top done. If he fails at Liverpool, then would Real Madrid want him afterwards? Would Bayern? I think the Leverkusen achievements will be, big on his CV for a while, but you don't want to go straight into a job.
He's smart.
There's lots of moving parts. Yeah.
Like, you're right. Like, it's tough for somebody to follow Klopp. Doesn't matter how good you are. So he's like, let some idiot take that job first. Let them do bad. So I'm following the idiot that was stupid enough to take this tough ass job of following Klopp. But I do think De Zerbi, if anybody has a shot, like, he has a shot, But
should we have a look at the odds for the next Liverpool manager?
All right.
Just to see
anything to avoid talking about Man United's horrendous performance. Yeah, let's look at odds. I'm a gambler now. What's up? Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Let's have a look at some see if we got any manager specials here.
Yeah, well, you look it up. I also heard like Barca wanted De Zerbi, and I think like Bayern Munich's also thinking about him. So I think after Xabi Alonso,
get out of here.
He came out.
No,
Barca.
I'm not saying that to you. I'm just saying that to them. Like, get out of here. He played for Real Madrid. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Why? He would never play for you. He would never coach you. Not first. At least he would coach Real Madrid for you. Barca, come on.
I think Barca just had a place that they'll just do anything to kind of come back to what they once were,
Yeah, Barca just buy all the expensive handbags and just pack them up in their closet and just be broke, and then somehow remain alive financially, illegally. Sorry, go ahead, Lee.
So the favourite at the moment, which it kind of makes sense given that he has Champions League experience as well, is Ruben Amorim, the current Sporting Lisbon manager. He's been there a few seasons. He's quite young still. I think he's only like 39 still or something, but he's won the league with Sporting Lisbon. He's had them in the Champions League, plays really good football as well. So I think that little bit of Champions League experience is why he's probably being touted as a favourite, but there's not much in it between him and De Zerbi in the odds. De Zerbi's number 2 in the bookies' minds. And then the odds get much longer after that. So Amorim and De Zerbi seem to be the top 2. Then it goes down to like Nagelsmann, Pep and Linders.
I don't think they want to play Nagelsmann football at Liverpool.
Yeah. So yeah, it goes way like Thomas Tuchel's like 18-1. The odds get really long on all the other managers.
I don't think they want to play Tuchel football at Liverpool.
Yeah.
Nagelsmann football is fine, but he already has a job.
Yeah.
He got to coach the German team in the Euros. So.
Yeah, they're playing nice right now.
So yeah, it seems like it's Amorim and De Zerbi according to the bookies. They're the 2, but the bookies occasionally get it wrong, so we'll see. But yeah, those 2, I think it would make sense to look at both those 2 for Liverpool. Amorim probably has, like I say, that slightly more sort of fleshed out CV, but he doesn't have Premier League experience, which De Zerbi has, and De Zerbi doesn't have Champions League experience, which Amorim does. So it depends which Liverpool, value higher. But yeah, definitely be an interesting appointment either way, whichever one they go for.
I might as well also pull up the Man United odds for the next coach. I like to see what the bookies are saying.
I think the bookies.
I
think these bookies will only give me the ones for
for teams that are doing well. They only
or for teams that are definitely losing their manager.
I mean, after that performance, I don't even know if we're keeping him, and I like him.
Because De Zerbi's favourite to be the next Bayern manager as well.
Oh shit!
Nagelsmann's in the mix on that one, which would be weird because he's only just left there. He's second favourite, and Amorim third favourite. De Zerbi's in his third favourite for the Barca job as well. So yeah, they're the only ones it's showing me is Barca, Bayern, and Liverpool, because obviously they're the ones that are definitely going to be hiring. So it's not showing me any United odds.
I mean, let's just get the United debacle out of the way. Like where do I start? First of all, if you are a United fan, who thought that United had a chance to finish in the top 4 or the top 5? Welcome to where I've been weeks ago. Like weeks ago, I knew we weren't going to finish top 4 or top 5. And I was by myself in this top 6 room, chilling. But I didn't want to yell out to anybody who was living in top 4 world in case they will tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. But I've seen how Man United's performed all season. I've seen how the teams that people thought that they could catch have performed all season. And Spurs are less likely to Spurs top 5, top 4 up. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just not even on a Spursy level right now. So they play good. Like, they pulled out that game against, was it Luton this weekend?
Yeah.
Like, they do clutch top 5, top 4 shit. You know what I mean? And props to Postecoglou in his first season as as Spurs coach to bring them to where they got. So finally got some company. There's some YouTubers who are United fans saying we ain't gonna get it, so I'm not alone anymore. And the problem with the game this weekend versus Brighton is before the international break, we played the best game of the season. And then today we played the worst game of the season. So even though we got a point, like, it's the performance is just super upsetting. And not only was it the performance, it's like we were getting battered the entire game. We could have lost that game 12-0. That's how bad we were getting battered. And then New United had the nerve to take the lead with barely any time left and make us believe we were going to snatch it. So then now we've been battered, and then we score a goal and we're on this high, and we're like, we can't believe we're going to win this. And then after defending against Brighton for 90 minutes, you couldn't defend 2 minutes more? That's all you've been doing all game is defending. The only thing you did all game, pretty decent, was defend. So you couldn't put 2 more minutes of that in there to hold on and snatch the win? So then after the deflating performance and we get the goal, they score, which that's like somebody punches you in the gut and you can't breathe. And as soon as you get the first gulp of air, they punch you in the gut again. And it's just, that thing was just deflating. Because we would have been disgusted with the win. We would have been disgusted with the draw, and we would have been disgusted with the loss. It was just a lose-lose performance. It was just atrocious. One of the problem with Man United, we have injuries defensively. So we didn't start our best defenders. And then the defenders we had were playing good. Like Varane is one of our best defenders, but he gets injured. And Lindelof was doing a good job, and he gets injured, so we lose them. But Brentford also, they didn't start their starting back four. So then, that kind of evens shit up for us. Another thing is, no team came back from the international break and went on the road and won. You know what I mean? So we fit into that category. And I have a feeling that we have more international break players than Brentford. So we did come back tired, and we never are really at the races after we come back from an international break. But the fall off was just horrendous and surprising, disappointingly surprising. Also, our problem is in the midfield. You just can't start Scott Mc Tominay. He's a 10 pretending to be an 8. You have this young kid, Kobe Mainoo, 6 in it, with no help. It's his first season. He's 18. He played for us. He's never played this many games in his life. Just came back from starting with England. He played in the Brazil game, started the Belgium game. He played the Liverpool game. Like, the dude is tired. Like, no young player is supposed to play this many games. Same thing with Garnacho. You know what I mean? Like, we're overextending these guys. Garnacho didn't have anything left. You know what I mean? After he was on the road with Argentina, it's just like, so we have injuries in all the wrong places to force people to overextend themselves. And then when you play McTominay as a 6, he doesn't defend the cutback as a midfielder. And when you play him as an 8, he doesn't defend the cutback. Like, when we're getting countered, he'll run into the defensive line of defense. So then all an offensive player has to do is wait for the cutback, and he has a clear shot on goal. It's like, hey, man, you're a midfielder. Pick up the midfielder. You play for Man United. You've seen Paul Scholes score so many cutback goals. You should know that's what teams do. It's crazy that you play the same position as your heroes, and you can't wrap your mind around what or where a midfielder should be defensively on a counterattack. It's crazy that he keeps going to mark space along the same line as all the defenders. Like, there's going to be a cutback. There's going to be a pass when everybody's blocking the cross. There's going to be a runner because you're in the line of defense and you left it the top of the key open. So that's game after game that happens. And I know he scores for us, but you have to start considering other options. It was tough because Casemiro's just coming back from an injury, and Mason Mount is just coming back from an injury, so you couldn't start them. But fuck it, man. Put on Amrabat. Put on Amrabat, bro. Especially when we had no control and we just needed something more physical in there to win us some shit. That's what Amrabat does, man. Like, when you see shit going south like that, put on Amrabat. Like, Scott Mc Tominay wears an invisible cloak in the middle of games sometimes. He will make you forget he was in the starting lineup. He disappears, bro. And he did in this game, and then towards the end of the game, he did some shit. And you're like, oh, there he is. But where was that shit for most of the game? So he's very frustrating. Excuse me. He should be a 10, but Bruno's a 10. But then Bruno, now, he knows Scott ain't going to stay home, so then he has to defend. So then everybody's looking at Bruno. It's like, why isn't he getting assists and goals? He's covering for Scott. And then Scott ain't as good as Bruno, so then attacking-wise, we ain't getting nothing out of the 10 spot in the attack. Because Scott is good as a 10 if he's meeting a cross or a loose ball. Like Scott, a lot of your goals for United this season is the same way Brentford scored against us today. So if you know you scored like that, why don't you believe other people could score like that? Like, get to the cutback point. That shit is frustrating. And then I also watched them I watched Scotland versus Holland just for kicks during the international break. They got shelled. Who was in the midfield disappearing again? Who's in common with both games? Scott Mc Tominay with his invisible cloak. You know? So I don't mean to like hammer one player, but there's a reason why it's just frustrating. There's a reason why they have Kobe Mainoo play the 6, because he's brave enough to want the ball in the backfield and to turn. And they know that the older guy who should be able to do that doesn't do it. But if you know he doesn't do it and doesn't want to do it and he's scared to do it, why is he on the field starting period? He's a sub. But again, today, Casemiro just come back from an injury. Mason Mount been injured all season. I feel like, shit, just play Eriksen, bro. Especially in a game where we need control and we need to hold on the ball. Just because Scott ain't going to defend either. And at least Eriksen got some technical ability to hold on to that shit. And that's my United goddamn rant. And now you guys can trash my team because we sucked.
I mean, the startling thing for me was I saw a stat about just the amount of shots that you've been giving up in games, like the last few games. Like even like
man,
we played Everton at home.
We're floozies, we're sluts. We'll give you shots. You shoot your shot.
But he just looks like bad. Like I mean, I know we're talking about, you're ranting about like the United and stuff, but it just looks like, because I mean I think we all play the game, right? Like here, and it just looks like kind of like offense against defense in a way where like they just run through. It's just like they're just kind of run back instead of like trying like, oh, don't let him run back, like go do something about it. But it just like seems like an offense against defense kind of practice where you're just like, let's take a shot, and like
it was like an endless mudslide. You know what I'm saying? They just kept on rolling through us, and thank God their compasses were off, or else this shit would have been embarrassing. But finish what you're saying. I can't defend us.
I think it was sorry. Go ahead, Lee.
Yeah, just wild that you keep giving up all these shots, and I think it just shows what a problem that centre midfield position's been for you this season. Because I think your defenders can do a good job, but they're just not being protected half the time. Casemiro hasn't quite hit the levels that he was hitting for you before. McTominay goes wandering a little bit, like you like to say about him. Mainoo, he's learning on the job. Most of what he does that I really like is with the ball, and I think he's still learning a bit more like off the ball. Like as a deep lying midfielder in possession, he's great. I think he's so press resistant, and so smart. So he just needs to maybe do a little bit more out of possession. But I mean, the fact that you only conceded one goal after being peppered by that much, I don't know if it's good defending or if it was good luck, because they've obviously hit the woodwork a few times as well.
Listen, man, there's no paint on those goal posts the way they were peppering us. Like they have to go repaint the Brentford goalposts the way they peppered their own goalposts against us. It's crazy.
Oh man, but I mean, but such a cruel way for that whole thing to happen. But I think there would have been Brentford fans who might have, just gone into a complete rage if they'd have lost that game. I think the universe would have been, a cruel place if you'd have come away with that 1-0. So I feel like that was just it balancing itself out, because that would have been, I think, the ultimate smash and grab if you'd have come off of that with a 1-0 win.
Yeah, I feel like the football gods were like watching this match and say, if we give this to United, like Brentford fans and conscientious objectors are going to be like, fuck football. This ain't fair. Like, if we let United win this, this is like the worst VAR call ever. You know how fans react to outrageously to a VAR call. This is what this shit was like. So they was like, nah, we can't. We got to intervene. Like they left Scott Mc Tominay on the field. Let them pay. Let them pay. Let's talk about.
Ian, I think you were saying like you don't like the chances of United making Europe League or top five, right? That's what you were saying, that you don't see it
Top
happening.
five. Yeah, I don't see it like the way, not the way Villa's playing, and not the way.
I think like I'll give you some hope for you. There's some hope because
I don't
Newcastle
want it.
play.
It's false hope.
It is, but Tottenham plays Newcastle twice. They have to play Newcastle twice. City, Arsenal, Liverpool.
Slow down. Who has to do what?
Spurs have to play Newcastle twice. Liverpool, City, and Arsenal, and other teams. So I think like basically like the difference on points might shrink somehow. I don't know drastically, but I can see it basically. I don't see Spurs winning 9 points out of those out of City, Liverpool, and Arsenal.
Not going for it, bro. I'm
Not going
good.
for it.
We're six.
And similar with Villa. Villa still has to play City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and City. It's like four of this in Brighton. If you think Brighton is, so there's some chances like those points might shrink.
Nah, bro. We're six, bro. That's weird.
Like,
And listen, bro. Look who's behind us. We might be lucky to hold on to this six. So you're like you might be like just looking at the front of the table. Look at the people behind us. We could lose six. Let me see. Yeah, West Ham, 44 points. We got a game in hand on them. Newcastle, great win against West Ham this weekend, 4-3.
I feel like that was the game of the week. That game was just like so good. So for a neutral, that was like, I wish it would have been the City Arsenal game.
I mean, it's like, hey, West Ham fans, your coach went out and played the way you wanted him to play. They went up 3-1, and then 20 minutes in, he pulls 20 minutes left, he pulls Antonio because he's like, we're going to play my old way and see this out. And it didn't work out. But it just gives the West Ham fans that energy to cry for the firing of Moyes. So it's like, he's damned. It's like he cannot please these people because plus you're playing at Newcastle. You know how hard it is to win at Newcastle? But nobody, I don't think any of the West Ham fans are saying that. They're to be like, nah, he blew it.
Well, I think the West Ham fans, more than Moyes, they're raging at Calvin Phillips because the game was 3-1 when Phillips came on. And then he gave away a penalty, which I think was a little bit unlucky. He gave away the penalty and he messed up on one of the other goals as well. And then afterwards, I don't know if you've seen the video, some fans were shouting at him when he was about to get on the team bus. And he just turned around and just gave them the big middle finger, which, I think is fair. If fans want to shout abuse, I think players should be able to respond and show some frustration back. But obviously, PR-wise, that's not really going to win the fans back over, especially after a performance like that. So, I think it's only a loan he's on there, so that ain't getting made permanent. He ain't staying.
Going back to City next season.
Yeah, I don't know where he goes from here.
Yeah, that's got to be the worst mid-season loan of all time. I feel bad for dude there. I don't want to pile on to that. You know what I mean?
He was getting in the England squad easier when he wasn't playing at City. Playing has harmed his reputation. It's crazy because Southgate loves him. Southgate was playing him all the time, even when he wasn't even making the City team. And then now he's playing so bad for West Ham that even Southgate won't call him up.
Yeah,
I remember when we signed him, people were saying like, I remember English Man City fans saying, "Oh, he's gonna take over Rodri." I'm like, how's he gonna take over Rodri? Rodri's like one of, in my opinion, the best CDM in the world. How are you gonna move Rodri for this guy? Like, no way.
Like, he just makes Pep look like a genius because Pep bought him and then play him. And then you're like, all right, sometimes that happens with players and it takes a while for them to break through. So then he goes on this loan to be like, and you're like, it's Calvin Phillips. He plays for England. I know he's been injured. So maybe he, he's being ignored at Man City by Pep. Nope. He just proving Pep right again. Like, Pep makes a lot of good footballing decisions. But hey, man, life is long and it's short at the same time, but it's long enough for Calvin Phillips to turn this around. Not this season, not at the Euros. Yeah, and like you said, that's so funny as shit that he made the England squad not playing, but playing has got him out of the squad. That's cold-blooded. That's fucked up. Feel bad for the dude. Get better, Cal. I did mention talking about what did you think about that first penalty in the Newcastle game, both of you? Was it a penalty? Was it a pen?
I think it's harsh, but it just about is. But it's one of those ones where it's like, yeah, they might not always give that.
I don't know when it comes to penalty anymore. I feel like I just don't know. Like, I saw also like the Burnley against Chelsea one. The Burnley against Chelsea one. That guy got a yellow card he got a yellow card. He got a red card. And he got a PK. And I rewatched the play like twice. I was with a Chelsea friend, and I was like, bro, how is this a PK? And he's like, I'll take it, but yeah, it's just I guess he raised his hand a little bit, and the ref's like, oh, you elbow him. I'm like, when did he elbow him? Like, that just, I don't understand, because we could be BR now, and the decisions are being reviewed, and after 5 reviews, I'm like, I think like the game's just changed. You don't know what's gonna be called anymore.
Yeah, that would have been a brave one to overturn. It would have really taken some balls, and it's the one that if you don't overturn it, you lose, and if you overturn it, you lose. You know what I mean? Like, but most analysts that have played the game were on board with you. The first one looked like a penalty, But when I watched it again, I'm like, he actually made the contact with Soufal's. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the first Newcastle penalty was less of a penalty after the review. And then if you go to the Burnley one, I say it wasn't a pen, but that guy got played. He got played. Like, Mudryk was on one. Like, there was some skill moves. He made us be like, oh, that's why Chelsea bought this guy. He just made his country qualify for the Euros, and he's on one. He's like, he did some shit on the left-hand side of the pitch in the second half that was devastating. Then in the first half, he earned that guy a yellow in the middle of the pitch, and then he got him another yellow in that box. And he's just, but Chelsea still didn't win. They still didn't win. That Burnley just pulled this shit out of their ass. That first goal, first of all, that's going in on anybody, And 1-2, when you're down a man, a 1-2 will put you up a man, or at least make you even. Like, if you ever playing 10 versus 11, just 1-2 your way off the pitch. That's the great equalizer, and that's what they did. And you always get the time for a shot, and if you shoot it right, like this guy did, boom. And then Chelsea go back up. They get the goal, and they go ahead. Great assist by Raheem Sterling, who later on missed a potential winner. And also Burnley at the end of the game missed a potential winner. But that game, like I said, the whole game is the highlight reel for the YouTube that they cut up and put up, like, end to end. That goalkeeper Muric, man of 3 matches, the way he kept that goal.
Whoever's the goalie scout at City, like, the guy just finds talent. Like, because Muric was a City player. The same with the guy with the Southampton goalie, Abunu, and like the only thing they missed was the Stefan Ortega, like the USM national team backup goalie, who's not even backup goalie anymore, but City gamble on Stefan Ortega to be the backup for Ederson. While I was like, no, don't take. I don't think he's good enough. Like let's keep Muric, let's keep the guy in the bench. But we got rid of him over Ortega. I think it was like the decision to sell jerseys in the US.
Hilarious. But Ortega was
crazy.
good this season already, right? No?
Ortega's the German guy.
I'm sorry,
it was Zach Steffen.
Zach Steffen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. At the time, basically, City was like, okay, we're taking Zach Steffen over Muric, and I was like, don't do it. Like, guys, like there's levels,
Yeah, and then he ended up getting bombed out, didn't he? In the end, in the summer, because he was like your cup and occasionally in Europe goalkeeper, wasn't he? Yeah. I think he's in MLS. Is he MLS now?
He actually plays the Columbus Crew now.
Damn.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Let me see. Is there anything else I want to discuss?
Quick question for you, Ian. Early prediction: United, Chelsea on Thursday. They play their games this week. Because they're both not at their best right now. So they're both.
Yeah, they're both in the same position. I feel like one thing that's funny about the Chelsea game, like I heard, like even before the game, maybe in the pre-game press conference, Pochettino was just saying, based on XG, we're third. But then Gabby Abanglahor ran through other stats, which actually, if you pick one stat, you could say you're this. But if you go through all their other stats, like they're right where they should be, because all their other stats put them further down the table. Important stats, all as important as XG. But when you, as a coach, when you point at
stats, that's just weird. What are you wasting time to go train on the pitch?
You're losing. You're grabbing at straws. The fans are like hounds. But also mentioning the XG is 3 point something is kind of like dry snitching at your forwards without calling their name out. It's like saying, I put them in a position to win, and they have not done it for me. I didn't buy these players. And then the forwards I would have bought. So it's dry snitching when you mention XG, because Chelsea does miss a lot of open chances. And instead of saying, Nate Jackson is fucking this up for me, Sterling is fucking this up for me, he's like, well, you look at our XG. These people fucked up. But I still say give Pochettino another chance, because it's the first season. What you gonna do? Like, throw another system on these brand new crop of players that need to, like, they're getting used to this thing. You just have to have some patience. This is not Pochettino's fault.
Another quick question, but do you think Quick Palmer, both of you guys, Cole Palmer wins Young Player of the Year, or is there any other player close?
There's other possibilities. There's Bradley, there's Mainu, there's who else is new this season?
Garnacho would even be in that mix as well.
Garnacho, yeah, a little bit.
Doku may count as a young player still.
But yeah, Doku's not. I think Palmer has contributed way more than Doku.
Yeah.
Who else is
on a struggling team as well?
I think when they see like basically like the stats and all of that, I think Cole Palmer, I think he scored like 10 plus goals this season. They're gonna be like, give it to Palmer.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad if he got it. Are you upset when you see how good he's doing? Because he was with you, right?
we all know he had basically the potential, but it's just like when last season we won the treble, right? Who's gonna be who are you gonna start over? Like, are you gonna start over?
You say that, but you kick Grealish out for a Doku. So why couldn't you keep Cole Palmer? But I guess financial fair play. But then you spent the money on goddamn Doku. So why not just keep Cole Palmer?
I just feel like Palmer was also, I think he wanted to. I think he talked to Pep, and he's like, I want to be playing more centrally. And Pep's like, Foden wants to play centrally, and I'm putting him on the wing. How am I gonna put you central over De Bruyne and Foden?
Oh, I got a question for you. Who do you think is going to be ultimately better, Foden or Palmer? Because right now Palmer is more consistent.
Foden. A team like Palmer is just doing super well because like the Chelsea team isn't doing. It's not a hard. I mean, it's
But
obviously hard, but
he's doing well in chaos.
he was at City, right? He was they were both City, and even though Palmer had some flashes, there was never like an indication for Pep saying like, you know what, this is a player I must do anything to keep. When he kept basically down to Foden, because people were saying like Foden should go on loan, Foden should go on loan. Foden like, nope, he's not going on loan. He's staying here. I'm not getting rid of these guys. So I think Foden's gonna have in the long term better career.
All right, bro. All right, we're gonna switch to the championship because every week we want to find out what's going on down there, you know, and we want to find out what that Southampton do. But also, before you even tell us about that, you had a run-in with a celebrity last week. You know what I mean? So tell us what the deal was that about?
Yeah. So we have every Saturday in London, or sometimes occasionally on a Sunday, depending on when we can get the court. We have a comedians basketball game. We started it up about 4 months ago because there's a bunch of us who like basketball as well as football. So we get together and we play. And last Saturday, not this weekend, last Saturday. But I'm the sort of person I arrive at everything early. And like I don't live in London as well. I live about an hour outside, so I always have to account for London traffic and stuff when I drive places. So I got there about half an hour early. I'm the first one there, and there's 2 courts in this building, and I walk in, and the first person I see is Adam Sandler. Like super recognizable. He's wearing like the crazy shirts that he wears as well. And it turns out he had booked the other court to just play privately on his own. He was just going to shoot on his own. And I walked in and he just put his hand out. He goes, "Hey, I'm Adam." I'm like, "Yeah, I know who you are." And I shook his hand and I was like, "We got a comedians game starting in a few minutes if you want to play." And he was like, "Yeah, I'm down." And then it was just like, we just went into the court and we were just shooting and chatting about comedy and basketball for a bit with like his security guy just sat on the side in case, I was a crazy person or something. And he just has those guys with him. And then I didn't text any of the other guys to tell them that he was there. So I got to watch them walk into the gym and just
that's what I want to ask. Like your friends, a bunch of comics, walk into the gym and see you shooting with Adam Sandler. That has to be fucking crazy because comics like we're nerds, we're fiends, and like we know about the life of every successful comic, how they started. We know their jokes, and especially in England, like you I know you guys probably eat up a lot of like American comedy. So it's like you walk like, is that Lee with Adam Sandler on our court? That's got to be crazy, bro.
Yeah, people were like, they came in and they were just like mouthing at me. They're going like, is that? And I was like, yeah, it's it. But everyone was super cool. Like he went round just like as people were arriving, he just went round like fist bumping people, like introducing himself and stuff. Like he was just like any other player. It was crazy. And yeah, he just played with us for a bit. It was completely normal. We got the little group photo at the end, but like no one bothered him for like selfies or anything. Everyone was pretty cool about it, which was nice. And then he left. And then everyone had like a bit of a meltdown after he left. They were like, "Shit, did that just happen?" Everyone held it together while he was there. And after he went, everyone was just looking at each other like, "Did that shit really happen?"
That is crazy.
So yeah,
what was he doing there? Like just like he has like a shows there, movie.
No, he was. I think he was filming something outside of London, but staying in London, I think, or something like that. I didn't pry too much on his details because I know if he's filming something, it's probably it's probably a level of confidentiality with that. So it didn't bother him about that. But yeah, he was in the country shooting something. He wasn't doing any shows or anything, but he was asking me about like the clubs in London and things. So yeah, that was quite cool. But for like everyone who plays on the comedians basketball, obviously they love comedy and basketball, and if you love those two things, he's like one of the people you could sort of wish to meet, kind of thing. So it was a really cool moment for all of us that were there that day.
That's crazy, bro. That's pretty funny. That's pretty bananas. Like, it didn't even matter if Southampton won or lost.
We didn't play. That was the international weekend that weekend. So yeah, no, it was yeah, basketball was firmly over football that weekend for sure.
How did y'all do this week?
Oh, we had a horror. Well, we didn't lose, but the game, the way the game panned out was just frustrating because, we're chasing Ipswich, Leeds, and Leicester now, and Leicester played in the early game. They played Bristol City and they lost. So I was like, yes, there we go. One team has dropped some points. And then we played at home to Middlesbrough. Leeds and Ipswich weren't playing until the evening. So we were the afternoon game. We played Middlesbrough. We went 1-0 up after like 12 minutes or something. Adam Armstrong scored again. And I'm like, here we go. We're on the way. I was sort of following the game because I couldn't watch it live. They didn't show it live. So I was following it online. One of the reporters that was there, he's like, we're dominating possession. We're creating chances. And then it was just, I've watched some of these chances back. In the first half and the second half, we just missed so many chances. Shea Adams missed like 3 or 4 big chances.
What do you think he was in the Premier League?
I think so. And then it's so predictable. When you're 1-0 up and you're missing chances, what's coming. They had one chance and Cross comes over. They get their guy gets to the ball first, heads it in for 1-1. We draw the game. And, we're trying to chase these guys. We need every point because Leeds drew later on and Ipswich won. So Ipswich are now top of the league, which is crazy considering they only came up from League One last season. So, yeah, I mean, Leicester have got a game in hand on them. We've got 2 games in hand on Ipswich and Leeds, but we play Ipswich tomorrow in the Holiday Monday game, which is...
And Ipswich has the United coach, right?
Yeah, Kieran McKenna, who he sort of coached there under Solskjaer and a couple other people. So yeah, he's doing a great job with them. They're so consistent. They've lost the least amount of games in the league this season. I think they're the highest scorers in the league this season as well. They haven't got the tightest defense. That's Leeds, I think, but yeah, they scored 81 goals in 39 games, which is pretty crazy. It's more than 2 a game. So yeah, we play them at Ipswich on Monday or tomorrow, so that's going to be a tough one for us because we need to win it if we're to have even the faintest hope of going up automatically. But we've still got to play Ipswich, Leeds, and Leicester all still. So they're the 3 above us. We still got to play all 3 of them. So it's not mathematically impossible, but it's not looking good for us. I think we're not consistent enough to go up automatically. We're going to be in the playoffs, and one of Leeds, Ipswich, or Leicester will be in the playoffs with us.
How many games left? Like 47?
Well, it's a 46 game season. We've played 37. Most of the other teams have played 39, but we missed a couple of games. One because of the fire next door to the stadium, and also one week we meant to play Leicester, but they made the FA Cup semi-final, so that one got moved for us as well. We meant to play them the week they played in the FA Cup quarterfinal, and that got moved. So yeah, we got a bunch of games to make up, but I don't know if we'll be consistent enough. So we're going to be in the playoffs, and I have zero confidence in the playoffs because it's always like one of the teams that did the worst and just sneaked in at the last minute that ends up doing well or something. It's never usually the team that were most consistent, but hopefully that won't be us because I think, one of Leeds or Leicester will be in there with us as well. So we'll see. But right now, yeah, we're self-destructing, not self-destructing, but it's our own fault that we're not going to finish in the top 2, I think.
So what place are you in now again?
4th right now.
Okay. How far from the top?
So Ipswich, who are top, are on 84 points.
Damn,
we're on 74, but we've got 2 games in hand on them. So if we win the 2 games, we're only 4 points off, and we play Ipswich tomorrow. So if we beat Ipswich tomorrow, it's on. We could do it, but if we lose tomorrow, we are definitely cooked in terms of automatic.
Wait a minute. So when did you play? Because you said you had a draw against Middlesbrough. When was that?
Saturday.
And then you play Ipswich tomorrow?
Yeah, there's a whole round of. Oh no, we played Middlesbrough Friday. Sorry, the
Oh,
championship goes either end of the
that's
weekend on Easter. They do Friday, Monday.
damn, that's still like pretty close.
Yeah,
That's not that's not
but
even time
every
for Jesus to get resurrected.
yeah, but it's a say there's a full round of fixtures both days. So every team has to deal with it, and the game against Ipswich is in the evening, so we get a little bit of extra recovery time because I think some of the games are going to be afternoon. So yeah, but I'm not confident. If we can go to Ipswich and get something and win, then I think it puts it back on the table. But Ipswich have been so good this season, I don't think we're going to win there.
Damn, all right, Jesus Christ. I'm not gonna tell you will if you're so down about it. You already spent the 3 points on a loss.
Question for you all, Burnley, because if you follow the championship last year, I feel like Burnley
Mm,
was pretty comfortably, like, they had a nice run in the championship, but somehow
mm,
once they made it to the Premier League, like, they fell up. Was it like lack of investment,
yeah.
or the way they play, or what was kind of like the whole? Because they just feel like they just two completely different teams, you know?
Yeah, it's a tough one because I think a lot of their squad were players who could do well in the championship, and that doesn't always translate to the Premier League. But they dominated the championship last year, and they played high possession football as well, which isn't always the easiest when you come up to the Premier League. I don't think they've been able to quite implement that same style. But I mean, Luton play low possession football. They've come up as well, and they've not always done the best. So it's a real mixture. I just don't think the players they've got in their squad were quite. They haven't got many people in their squad that were like experienced Premier League players or
They
even
bought a bunch
experienced
of
like
people
top
when
level
they came.
players.
They spent a lot of money when they came up, Burnley, right?
They bought a few in, but they didn't buy many that were like proven Premier League players.
Right.
And also, like we've got their player who was captain for them last year. Well, I don't know if he was captain. He was one of their best players. He's the England 21's captain, Taylor Harwood-Bellis, who's on loan from Man City.
Mm-hmm.
He played centre back for Burnley last year and was key for them. And then he's went back to City, and then City loaned him to us. So yeah, I think they had to obviously buy in a new centre back, and yeah, their team Nathan Teller was huge for them last year, who was on loan from us. He was their top scorer, I think, and then he obviously came back to us, and then we sold him to Leverkusen. So they lost like key centre back,
He's
key
like
forward.
about to like win the German.
Yeah,
So hold up. So he won the championship with them,
yeah,
and now he's about to
on
win the Bundesliga.
yeah.
Oh shit! Good for
He's
him.
the lucky charm.
Yeah.
um, but he played a few games for us before he went to Leverkusen. He was scoring goals for us in the championship at the start of the season. And then he went to Leverkusen. And he's a winger, but he's a really good player. So yeah, Burnley losing them, they kind of had to reshuffle. And I think just the way they play, they've not quite adapted as easily to the Premier League. And I'm fairly confident them and Sheffield United will both be coming back down. Luton maybe could do something, but depending on the points deductions and the appeals that are going on, I think that'll have a big bearing on what happens with that third relegation spot.
Right. I was gonna ask you about the fantasy league, but it's like some teams are on 30 games and some teams are on half the teams are on 30 games and half the other teams are on 29. So but we'll just skip that this week. Anybody got any last questions and stuff or things that they want to say or put out there before we end this?
I'm going to be posting on my socials about some shows in the US. I'm going to be in New York and then in Austin in a couple of weeks. So I'll be in both those places. I'll post about where I'm going to be, what venues and stuff. So yeah, Lee Hudson Comedy on Instagram.
Though, what you got, Alex?
Not much. I mean, I'm kind of like gonna chill in April. I feel a little burnout, not burnout, but I just did too many shows on March that I feel like right now I'm probably gonna. I'm doing both weekends of Coachella, so that's
Oh,
kind of
you're going to the festival both weekends?
yeah. It's like I live like 5 minutes away, like, and like I just kind of got hooked up with tickets. I'm like, all right, I'll do Coachella.
I might go one weekend.
Let's link up.
Yeah, I didn't get a ticket yet though, but I feel like the lineup was so bad that there's tickets available from the site.
I don't know if you saw, but Coachella was basically trying to do like something weird. Like they basically told the people who bought tickets that you were only able to park on their spots, parking spots, if you had four people in your car. And people were, yeah, they just wanted to be like friendly to the environment and be like, we're only gonna let you park if you're carpooling and you have four people in your car. And people were complaining ticket and sales were pretty bad. But they were like, you know what, never mind, just come any way you want, just we need to sell tickets.
You know what happened to me last year? I went, right? I went on Friday, the first night, and it's second weekend, and bro, I was in that traffic for 3 performances on stage one. Like, I'm right there, but the traffic to get in the parking lot ain't moving. So I'm watching Burna Boy. I'm watching people that I want to see, and I kind of hear the music coming from the grounds on my phone in the car while I'm just sitting there in traffic. When I get there, it's so late. First of all, so when we get to the parking lot that I was trying to get in, they like, all the parking is done. There is no spots left. So then they say you have to drive to this other area and park your car and then take a bus. So then I park my car and me and a bunch of strangers just get on these buses that take us back to where we just was trying to get into for the last 2 hours or 3 hours. However, it was long. It's probably longer than that. And then I barely just get in there for Friday night. I mean, I still did enjoy myself, but that was a first world nightmare. You know what I'm saying? Like just trying to, but yeah, I'm gonna try to pull up. I just gotta figure out what weekend. What's the first night?
To be completely honest, I don't think I look at the lineups too much. Just
What's
it's
the
just
first weekend of Coachella?
oh,
April
it's
what?
gonna be it's second week of it's normally goes second, third week. That's Coachella. 4 week is when you do Stagecoach.
Okay, cool. All right, but I'm gonna try to pull up. We'll see. I always do it, so we'll see what's up. Well, hey everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. We love you. Be good to each other. I hope your team plays better than Man United did this weekend. I don't wish that type of performance on anyone. I mean, it's just detrimental to the love of football. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's going to take me a while to get that out of my system. I still love the United players, but man, that was rough. All right, everyone, peace, love, one.